and welcome back. Thank you guys for your patience as we were getting that going. Thanks, Marjorie.
Welcome.
Wow. What an hour. That was awesome. Hold on. Rickley.
What?
Thank you for those words.
Oh, you're welcome.
They were a hit.
I just love how Rickley thought he said something wrong. Like, what?
You guys are gonna sci-fi it up, and I'm gonna get myself away for the rest of the day. Oh, maybe I'm not. There's one thing that we need to share because some people in this group don't know it yet.
Okay.
Oh, hello. Can you hear me now?
Amy!
Rickley! I emailed most of you. Most of you know this, but Friday's my last day at MPTF.
Boo-hoo.
Should we go yay or should we go, oh?
No, you go, oh, no.
You can do a mix of both.
It's a combination of like,
We're happy for her, but we're sad.
Yes, Rickley and I will just be pen pals for the rest of our lives.
That's right.
We have a nice email relationship. Anyways, Monday I start at Peacock TV. I'm very excited. So, I have a whole weekend off to relax. I will make some sort of special guest, a very special guest appearance on Cinephiles at some point in the future, I'm sure.
Great. We'd love to have you.
But thank you all for having me. This has been a lot of fun being here. Oh, bye, Jen. Past several months.
Good luck.
Thanks, y'all. Thanks, you guys.
Peacock
Appreciate
is better
it.
off with Amy.
Yeah, exactly.
And Amy, are you going to be editing for Peacock? What are you going to be doing?
Not editing. No, it's more of like a post-producer type role. My title is Video Editorial Associate Producer.
Nice.
Whatever the hell that means. No, just kidding.
You'll find out.
What's that, Wrigley?
You'll find out.
Yeah, I'll let you know on Monday.
One day you'll know.
Yeah.
But you got the talent, you got the gift, you're going to be just fine. Everything's going to be okay, Amy.
She'll either know on Monday or within the next 3 months.
That's true. But anyways, yeah, it's been just a blast hanging out with the Cinephiles crew. You all are just the best. And you know so much. And I've learned so much over these past few months, several months. And thanks for all the great recommendations, especially Rickley and Bob. Great.
You're welcome.
Awesome. Well, we're going to miss you, Amy, but please come back, and anytime you want, you'll always have a room for you here with us on Cinephiles. And what? I'm going to change it up a little bit. We're going to start with you, Amy. Let's start with you right off the bat, and then we'll continue from the list.
Oh my God. What is even I did. Okay. So yes, my pick is Children of Men, which was definitely the first one I really thought of for sci-fi. It's a 2000. Is everyone familiar with this movie? Or maybe not? Rickley, Bob?
I know it.
You guys know it. Bob doesn't know it. Everyone else seems to know. Okay, so
Clive Owen, right?
It's 2006.
Clive Owen, isn't it?
Correct. Okay. Clive Owen, Julianne Moore, other people who I would need to look up.
Michael Caine? Michael
Caine, and then the other guy. What's his name?
Ejiofor Ejiofor.
Yes.
Michael Caine's in everything.
Yes.
This is in like every Cinephiles episode.
Michael Caine in a million movies, at least.
Seriously.
Anyway, I'm sorry, Amy. Go ahead.
Oh, that's okay. So Children of Men, I saw this on a whim, I want to say just 2 or 3 years ago. So it came out in 2006, and I hadn't really heard that much. I didn't hear much about it back in 2006. It's this very dystopian, intense movie. I haven't gone back to watch it because you kind of have to be in the right mind you know, be in the right space to watch it because it is very intense. The director is Alfonso Cuarón. Cuarón? How do you say that?
Cuarón.
Cuarón.
Yeah.
Anyone familiar with this director? He did one of my favorites from my childhood, which probably no one knows about, A Little Princess from
I love that
1997.
movie. I love
Yes,
that movie.
it was actually such a great movie. Y Tu Mamá También. He did a Harry Potter movie. He did Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. Then he did Children of Men, Gravity in 2013, and then Roma in 2018. And I didn't look up what he will be doing in the future, but I'm sure it's something because he's an amazing director. And I just encourage everyone to watch this movie. It was nominated. I know the cinematographer was nominated for an Academy Award. There's a very famous shot in this movie where it doesn't cut for a good long while in this action sequence. It has this very famous scene where there's a lot of violence happening, and it's one take that just continues. This is an amazing movie. I don't know quite what else to say about it, so let's show the trailer.
Let's roll.
I can't really remember when I last had any hope. And I certainly can't remember when anyone else did either. Because really, since women stopped being able to have babies, what's left to hope for?
The world was stunned today by the death of Diego Ricardo, the youngest person on the planet. The youngest person on Earth was 18 years, 4 months, 20 days, 16 hours, and 8 minutes old.
The ultimate mystery. Why are women infertile? Some say it's genetic experiments, pollution. Why do you think we can't make babies anymore?
Doesn't matter. It's all over in 50 years. It's too late.
Move along! Move along!
Hello, Theo. How have you been? I'm sorry about the theatrics. Police have been a pain lately.
I haven't seen you for nearly 20 years.
I need your help. Not for me, a girl. I need to get her to the coast, past security checkpoints. It's hard for me to look at you. He had your eyes.
So why did you come to me?
I trust you.
Show him.
Now you know what's at stake.
We have to meet the boat.
What is this boat?
The Human Project have sent a boat.
The Human Project?
It's the greatest minds in the world working for a new society.
Your baby is the miracle the whole world has been waiting for.
We will find a way to get you to the Human Project, I promise you.
We're almost there, Q. We're almost there.
There you go.
Excellent choice, Amy. This was on my list as well, but I'm glad you picked it.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful film. The filmmaking alone on this is just incredible. What Cuarón and his DP Emmanuel Lubezki were able to achieve with those, more than a few sequences where it's a continuous take, a long take. It just baffles the mind how they were able to achieve that shot, especially when they're in the car and you're inside the car going 360 and seeing the chaos outside and everything. It's just an achievement in filmmaking.
Preparation.
Say that again, Rickley?
Preparation.
Preparation. That's right. That's right. And also, Go ahead, Barbara.
I was to say I'm excited to see it. So because we have a display about Emmanuel Chivo Levitsky in the museum, I've seen clips from this, but I didn't know what it was from. So you've just educated me. I don't get time to read all the things in the museum when I'm touring people through. And so I know. So I'm really excited because I've been wanting to figure out what that was from. Now I know.
Yes, yeah, and it's an incredible movie. There's a great score. There's actually a really beautiful version of Ruby Tuesday sung by I can't even remember his name, but it's a really cool version of Ruby Tuesday with this man who has this Spanish accent, and it's just gorgeous. Part of the soundtrack, but it's a must see for especially for sci-fi fans.
It was a singer named Franco Battiato.
Thank you.
Yes. By the way, this is set in the year 2027. So.
Gosh.
Yeah.
What year? It was what year? 2006. So.
Yeah.
Years, yeah.
20 years in the future. So we'll see.
Excellent. Does anybody want to add anything before we move on?
Clive Owen looks a lot better here than as Bill Clinton. The end.
Thanks, Amy.
Thanks, Amy.
All right, Nate, why don't you kick us off next with your pick? I'm excited about your pick.
All right, so 180 degrees in the other direction. This is Galaxy Quest from 1999. I love this movie to pieces. I could watch this thing on a loop. It's so great. The premise, if you have not seen it, although I hope you have, is what if there was a race of aliens who were in trouble and they were big fans of TV broadcasts of Star Trek, but they thought that it was real. And so it's actually kind of a mishmash of Star Trek and Next Generation. They kind of sort of smush the two together. But in real life, of course, it's just a sci-fi show, and the cast members actually really don't like each other, mainly because their star, Tim Allen, is a complete egomaniac who played the captain. I don't know who they would have modeled that after, complete fiction. But so, of course, the aliens come to them for help and wind up swiping them and beg them to help them because they're under attack. And they have actually rebuilt all the technology based on what was in the show. Much hilarity ensues, but it's also just a love letter to science fiction. And I know that I have sung the praises of Alan Rickman on here before, but he is astoundingly good in this movie. You'd think this would be kind of like a fluffy throwaway thing for him, but he is phenomenal in this. He gets a senior at the end. It'll blow you away. Yeah. Really, really fun film. Slight trivia bit, this was one of the first movies that I kind of saw being made at DreamWorks in the early days, but originally this was actually a much raunchier R-rated film, like when they were shooting it. So if you watch the movie, you can kind of see where they redub some of the dialogue, especially Sigourney Weaver. A few times she'll be like, and it'll say something else like "screw" or so whatever. So thankfully they decided this should be a PG-13. Families should be able to come see this movie, and they really toned it down as a wise move. Has everybody else seen this movie? Okay, good. Well, let's roll the trailer and then we'll talk about it.
In the far reaches of the galaxy, a civilization is under siege.
We are all that is left.
They've searched the universe for a leader.
Stay tuned for scenes from next week's Galaxy Quest.
Never give up. Never surrender.
He will save us. What they got.
Never give up and never surrender.
Were struggling TV actors.
You are our last hope. Where's my limo?
Okie dokie.
And they're about to put on a command performance 8 million light years away.
We are actors, not astronauts.
You are our protectors.
That was a hell of a thing.
Now,
Laredo, take us out.
You gotta move to the right.
Would you sit your ass down? You wanna drive this thing?
acting like heroes.
The whole thing was just a misunderstanding.
May not be enough.
They look like little children. Hi, little guy.
I'm done.
DreamWorks Pictures presents Tim Allen, Sigourney Weaver, Alan Rickman. Galaxy Quest.
You're just gonna have to kill it. Well, go for the mouth, the throat, his vulnerable spots. It's a rock. It doesn't have any vulnerable spots.
All right, it's nice Galaxy Quest. Also, a big shout out. The score by Bruce Broughton in this is fantastic as well. It's up there with like the great like Jerry Goldsmith and James Horner scores for Star Trek. It's a really, really great score too. So.
And let's not forget Sam Rockwell in this, please.
Oh yeah, that's Guy.
Did Michael Caine play the head monster?
This was such a great movie, Nate. It's so much fun.
It really is.
I do recommend this to everyone. I have this this great bonding moment with my former boss, Mike Figgis, who does, he's the guy that did Leaving Las Vegas, really these brooding movies. And he comes into work one day and he just says, "Edgar, have you seen Galaxy Quest?" And I said, yeah, Mike, I have seen it. And he just does this pause and is like, "Fucking brilliant, man." And Alan Rickman, and then just thinking of Alan Rickman, he just couldn't stop laughing.
Oh, yeah. Well, Alan Rickman's dynamite.
I mean, Rickman in this is just outstanding. And so that was my bonding moment with Mike just over this movie. Can't recommend it enough. Great choice, Nate.
Yeah, Alan Rickman was an iconic actor as far as I'm concerned, but he died, too young.
Yeah.
And made that one terrific movie about the heart doctor, the heart surgeon. I can't think of the name of it. I shouldn't even brought it up. Anyway, I can't think of the movie, but Alan Rickman was a wonderful actor.
Yeah. And will go down as in history, I think, as the greatest villain in an action movie of all time.
Die Hard.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, that's an excellent choice. And look at this in perfect cue. Mr. Bob Harvey joins us just in time for him to talk about his pick.
What did I pick?
You picked the Ed Wood classic, so please go on.
Plan 9 from Outer Space?
Yes.
One of the greatest motion pictures ever made. Semi-starring Bela Lugosi. Listen, for all the crap that Ed Wood produced, at least he had the balls to do it. He gave Bela Lugosi a part in the movie, and something for us to talk about 60 years later. The best thing about Plan 9 from Outer Space is you can see the wires on the spaceships as they take off. What else could be said? He did it on a low budget. I mean, come on. Ed Wood wrote it, directed it, produced it. He did everything, and it got distribution. And listen, we're all sitting here. We know how difficult independent filmmaking can be, especially that kind of quality. So that's really all I have to say about it.
It's enough.
That's it.
Anybody want to jump in?
Let's roll the trailer so that we can let people know about it.
The mysterious, the unexplainable. That is why you are here. And now, for the first time, we are bringing to you the full story of what happened on that fateful day.
You believe there are such things as flying saucers, Colonel?
Flying saucers, Captain, are still a rumor.
We've had contact. Radio.
This is Eros, a space soldier from a planet of your galaxy.
What plan will you follow now?
Plan 9.
Plan 9 deals with the resurrection of the dead. Have you attempted any of this plan as yet?
Yes, Excellency.
It's too bad it must be handled this way.
see? You see? Your stupid minds. Stupid. Stupid.
My friend, can your heart stand the shocking facts about grave robbers from outer space?
Story, and I think it's true. I mean, if you sit through the movie, you can see it. Lugosi died during the filming, and what are they going to do? Reshoot everything? They had a guy come in, and they only shot him from the back to fill in for the parts that Lugosi was supposed to be in. That is guerrilla filmmaking at its best.
Yeah, run and gun.
They lampoon a little bit of it in the Tim Burton movie of Ed Wood, which was great. Oh, yeah. It's Martin Landau as Bela Lugosi and Johnny Depp as Ed Wood. Fantastic film. And
meanwhile, after all is said and done, I repeat, 60 years later, we're sitting here talking about that film. How many films were made that year that we're not talking about?
The most advanced technological machine in there was the reel-to-reel tape recorder. That was the technology then.
It's true. That's true.
Well, that was a great choice, Bob. Thanks for sharing that with us. Such an iconic film. And yes, we make fun of it, but man, he got it made. He got it made.
And like he says, we're talking about it now.
He did.
Yeah. Excellent. Well, from one flying saucer to another, Mr. Bob Mirisch, tell us about your classic pick.
Well, it is a classic.
It is.
It is a classic, very certainly. And it's The Day the Earth Stood Still.
Absolutely.
This is kind of like going from the ridiculous to the sublime. Because whereas you could see the wires in Ed Wood's show, this film is really quite deep if you dig into it. First of all, it was directed by Robert Wise, and that's going to tell you something about the quality of what you're going to see in this film. I mean, he was remarkable in the arc of his career from Citizen Kane all the way to Sound of Music and another movie, the sequel of which is opening up this week, but I don't want to give it a plug. It's got some, well, it starred Michael Renee, Patricia Neal, Hugh Martin, if you can say it starred him, and it's an outer source bringing a message to the world in a time when the world is feeling threatened. And it's really got a parallel to the Jesus story. This is a as I said, a person bringing message from the outer world. He has to prove it with miracles. He has to be resurrected from death, and he's an enigma. And the other thing about this thing is they've got this giant robot who comes along with him, his buddy. And the thing that I never realized at the time was that this was a real guy. This wasn't a a uh, a made up robot. This guy was a guy who was 7'7" and wrapped in this outer space outfit, which, because of the constraint of it and his own physical problems, I guess, they could only shoot him like 15 minutes at a time and then edit all his scenes together. And it's a remarkable achievement. The film is I think I can safely say this is a beloved film, because it's been around all these years, and it feels fresh. It doesn't feel phonied up. It got a Rotten Tomatoes rating, much later, because when it came out, they didn't have Rotten Tomatoes, but it was 95% approval from the critics and 87% from the audience, which is really quite remarkable. And let's take a look at the trailer, and you'll see how smooth it is. It just flows so well.
We interrupt this program to give you a bulletin just received from one of our naval units at sea. A large object traveling at supersonic speed is headed over the North Atlantic toward the east coast of the United States.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Drew Pearson. We bring you this special radio television broadcast in order to give you the very latest information on an amazing phenomenon: the arrival of a space ship in Washington. The Army has taken every precaution to meet any emergency which may develop. Just a minute, ladies and gentlemen, I think something is happening.
I came here to give you these facts. But if you threaten to extend your violence, this earth of yours will be reduced to a burned-out cinder.
But he's a robot. Without you, what could he do?
There's no limit to what he could do. He could destroy the Earth.
All vehicles, close in. Let's go.
Classic, just an absolute classic movie. It really is. It was my favorite movie from the beginning. I first saw it when I was 10 years old, and it was my favorite science fiction movie for years. And it still stands up. It's still a terrific movie.
And the remake of it was just terrible.
Oh, yeah, it wasn't good at all.
It's another example of why some movies should not be remade.
Yes, I agree with you.
And a little bit more about Gort. Where did they discover this guy, 7'7" guy, to play this? He was an usher at Grauman's Chinese.
He was in the right place at the right time.
Yeah.
No, that should be in the museum, Barbara.
What, the 7'7" man?
Where they found him should be in the.
I'll pass it along.
Yeah, there you go. For many years, though, I remember driving down La Brea, and you can see in one of the, just south of Wilshire, there was a storefront, and on the window, they had this replica of Gort there that you could see. I don't know if it's still there. I haven't driven by that in a long time, but I remember driving by it all the time, and there he was.
Does anybody remember the 3 words?
Ecto Doratus. The third one I can pronounce.
Yeah, something like that. It was 3 words I could never remember.
Platos, Veratos, and Nictos, I think, right?
Yeah, something like yeah.
Nate knows.
I have it right here.
Where are they, Nate?
Yeah, Nicto. Clatu Barada Nicto, right?
Yeah.
Nicto. I remember that one.
Yeah, Clato, Verato, Nicto.
Which was a made-up language.
No.
Yeah.
From what I understand, this is going back to another mentor I worked with, the great director Joe Dante. I was embarrassed that I hadn't seen it. I hadn't seen this movie when I worked with Joe, and he was talking about this movie on the set, and that those 3 words were actually streets in Beverly Hills.
No. There's no Clacoo Street in Beverly Hills. Maybe there's a Barada, but something, and there's no Nicto either.
Yeah. But
so he was having fun with you.
When I heard that those 3 words, the only movie I could think of was Army of Darkness, and he was just beside himself with embarrassment, thinking that was my reference to the movie, was an Army of Darkness, because that's what they repeat in that movie. So needless to say, I went out that night and watched this movie, and it was amazing, fantastic movie, and I think it still holds up after all these years.
It does. There's no question about it.
Yeah. Great choice, Bob.
Thank you.
Does anybody want to add anything else before we move on? All right, let's see who's next. Okay, I'm next. My pick is this little-known movie that came out a few years ago called Upgrade. Has anyone seen this movie from 2018? I didn't know anything about it. Oh yeah, Jen and I watched it recently. I didn't know anything about it. I went with a couple of friends, and it was one of the most enjoyable times I had in a movie in a long time, because it was so well done, was unexpected. I thought it was a really great looking sci-fi thriller. And the premise is really cool. It's this guy set in the future who designs, rebuilds old muscle cars from the 60s, but he's still living in a modern world. And one day he and his wife get carjacked. She's killed and he's left paralyzed. And what goes from there, it sort of becomes kind of like the $6 Million Man, where there's this genius Elon Musk type of guy that presents this guy with a solution to how would you like to walk again, and solve the mystery of who was responsible for this atrocity to you and your wife. And that's the setup. And it's such a fantastic movie. I thought the filmmaker did a great homage to both Paul Verhoeven and David Cronenberg, because it felt like it was a marriage of those 2 filmmakers into this great sci-fi thriller. If you haven't seen this movie, I highly recommend it. It's just fabulous. And the production design is amazing. They didn't have a lot of money to do this movie, and what they got, was a Jason Blum production. So it's in the low budget range, but man, they got away with a lot. So let's roll the trailer so you can see what I'm talking about. It's such a fantastic film.
As a quadriplegic, it must be frustrating for you, someone who liked to get things done with their hands.
Here's the thing. 4 guys murdered my wife.
if I told you I could offer you something that would enable you to walk again? I call it STEM, a computer chip that has the potential to change everything. It's a new, better brain.
I am STEM, the system operating your body for you.
Can anybody else hear you?
No, only you. May I point something out? In the drone surveillance footage, Sir Brantner, Marine Corps, address 414 Citrus, Newcraft. You'll need a plan.
I got this.
This doesn't seem like a well thought out plan. I need your permission to operate independently.
Permission granted!
Thank you.
Stay down, man. Sam, he's got a knife!
I see that. We have a knife too. You now have full control again, Gray.
If you are involved in this somehow, then you need to let me know.
Well, I was in the area, Detective.
There's a gun implanted inside his hand.
Stan, what do you think I should do?
Move, Gray.
Man, you are persistent.
I cannot allow us to be killed. We're going to finish the job we started.
You didn't know that I'm a ninja.
While I am state of the art, I am not a ninja.
I'm going to rewatch that again. You know,
It's showing right now, I think, on Showtime.
I'm going to take a look at it again. I've seen it once and I liked it, but I can't remember that trailer. You know, I got to look at it again because I can't remember a lot of it.
Yeah, it's a fantastic movie. One of those.
They got a lot done with the little money that Blumhouse really does low budget, not real low budget, but certainly low budget. And they got a lot done.
It looks like they had the right kind of fights too. The guy that's supposed to win wins the fight. It only takes about 5 seconds. Those are the fights I like.
They did a lot of great stuff with the camera, the movement, and they shot this movie in Australia actually, even though it takes place in the U.S. So they were able to get a lot for their buck in Australia. And this director, I mean, he usually did those horror torture porn movies that I have no interest in seeing. So I was surprised at the caliber of this movie. He did such an amazing job.
What's the lead's name?
The lead, his name is Logan Marshall Green, and I had never seen him in anything. This was the first time. It just felt so new. This movie of new talent. I didn't know anyone in this movie.
Is he Australian? You know?
No, he's American.
Oh.
He's Tom Hardy's doppelganger, though.
Yes. He looks exactly like Tom Hardy. He really does.
yeah, you're right, kind of.
Has it. But Nate, what did you think of this movie?
Oh yeah, I love this movie. I was really surprised. Also, the ending is like really shocking. I thought they'd be setting up for like a sequel, and then it goes in a direction where I was like, oh wow, okay. It really pulls the rug out from under you. So yeah, it's a great film.
Yeah, it does. You're right. The ending for me was I was not expecting it to go that route, but it was a satisfying ending, and enough so that it made me want to see the movie again. Yeah, I highly recommend it. It's such a fun movie. It's really violent though. I will say there's a couple of scenes that just make you, ooh, they have to go there. But seeing that this guy loves making torture porn movies, that I can see where that violence comes from. But that was my only criticism of it, that the violence was a little too much in some places. But yeah. Anybody want to add anything else before we move on? All right.
Good.
Thank you. Wrinkly, you're up next, man. What did you pick?
Okay, well, here again is another movie that nobody liked. Critics didn't like it. Rotten Tomatoes gave it like a 40 or something, you know, and I don't care because I found it enjoyable. It's called Proximity. It came out during the pandemic. So, only people who saw it were the people at home, and there was a lot of them. So I'm sure a lot of people may have seen this movie. It doesn't star anybody you've ever heard of. I can't even tell you who it was. I didn't even look at the cast list. It's a story that's a Genesis story, but kind of interesting. It's about a young NASA scientist who works at JPL in Pasadena, and he has a close encounter, and he's abducted. And when he returns, nobody believes him, except the government is out to hunt him. Well, this young scientist becomes obsessed with his journey of discovery. And he sets out to make contact with them. And guess what? Roll the trailer.
What? You feel that?
What's your name?
Isaac. Cypress.
So, Isaac, can you tell us what happened that afternoon?
A meteorite with smoke trailing behind it appeared over the skies of Los Angeles yesterday.
Isaac, where you been? You got a minute? I want to show you something.
You're saying this is real? Are you okay?
You believe me, right?
Where have you been for the last few days?
Yesterday?
Yeah, yesterday, day before.
I'm not making this up. This really happened to me.
Okay.
You've been gone from work all week.
Did you have an encounter with an extraterrestrial being?
How does it feel knowing that people are saying that you're a fake?
Hi, Isaac. We have detained you against your will because we believe you have information that may be valuable to the future of our society.
Keep running!
When they come, we get one chance.
Do you think that we were exposed to something that could have changed us?
We have to be there when they come.
That's a bad idea. That's way too dangerous.
Do we really have another choice?
I remember what it was like, and I'm not going through that again.
Why did you take us?
Oh, that's it.
Wow. I'd never heard of this movie before.
It's a lot of fun to watch. I mean, it's not a great movie. It's not a classic, but it's a very interesting story, and it's kind of fun. It's very enjoyable.
I can see that the remnants, the filmmaker was inspired by THX 1138.
Yes,
You know, you can see that.
Yeah, the music was, yeah.
Yeah, but it looks pretty damn good. I mean, the trailer is fantastic. So
But you say, Edgar, good trailer, bad movie.
that's true. That is true. That's
So
that's
be
always been-
careful.
yeah, that is true. That 8 times out of 10, if the trailer's amazing, the movie isn't great. But
I didn't say it was great. I just said it's kind of fun. It's very interesting, very enjoyable.
All right. Well, we'll put it on the list. Thanks, Rickley. Does anybody want to add anything?
Oh God, no, they don't want to add any of that.
All right, let's move on to Barbara. Barbara, tell us about your pick.
Sure. So mine's going to be a little better known. My film that I chose was Avatar.
by James Cameron. I'm assuming everyone here has seen the film. Really interesting. Some of the backstory is interesting, but it was a science fiction film directed, written, produced, and co-edited by James Cameron. It starred Sam Worthington, Zoe Saldana, Stephen Lang, Michelle Rodriguez, and Sigourney Weaver. It was set in the mid 22nd century, so well in our future, when humans are colonizing Pandora, which is a fictional habitable moon of a gas giant in the Alpha Centauri system. And they are mining when I was reading this, I'd forgotten what it's called. They were mining the valuable mineral unobtainium. And I was like, oh, right, I think you could have gone a little more clever with that name. The expansion of the mining colony threatens the local people, the tribe of Navi. It's a humanoid species that are indigenous, and they are blue, as you all will remember, I'm sure. And to explore, the scientists have these bodies of the Navi that they get to possess by laying and having a mind meld with them and use them in real life. And so, what's so great, I think, to me, is the idea of someone that has been injured. A soldier is asked to come and take this on, and he can no longer walk, and he actually can now fully be himself, which I just thought was a really interesting take on it. So and the story goes on from there. It's a really great story. I loved this movie, but I didn't realize that the development of it started in 1994. That James Cameron had written an 80-page treatment for the film, and he realized that the technology wasn't ready in the industry to do this film, and it took them a long time to get to that place. Starting, I think, in 2005, it started to come back. It used extensive use of the motion capture, which is featured in the museum, talking about that and seeing the face mask they put on with a camera so that they could take the face of the artist and actually have it convey into the animation that was created. It's nominated for 9 Academy Awards, including Best Picture, Best Director, and 1 for the Best Art Direction, Best Cinematography, and Best Visual Effects. So it also led electronic manufacturers to release 3D television and had a new sort of influence into 3D films, because it increased its popularity because it was released in those ways. I also didn't realize that Cameron has signed 20th Century Fox to produce 4 sequels. Avatar 2 and Avatar 3 are completed principal filming and are scheduled to be released in December of 22 and 2024. And then there are 2 more for 2026 and 2028. So we have some relationship with Avatar coming in our future. Sometimes that's a good thing. Sometimes it's not, as we all know. So, but I really recommend everyone, if you haven't seen this in a while, to take a look again, because it is a really lovely film. And I'm happy for anyone else to chime in, because I'm sure you all have some perspective on this movie.
Well, Bob and I can only hope to see the last one.
Hey, Rickley, time to upgrade.
Nicely done.
Nice, honey.
I need James Cameron needs to drop by.
Yeah. The other thing is that I thought it was interesting. The work on the language of the Navi began in 2005. I think they had 1,000 words that they created or something like that. And you guys were talking about fake languages a minute ago. So nice theme for today's show.
That's fantastic. It's a great pick. If you don't mind, Barbara, I'm going to skip the trailer so that we can get a chance to get the other ones in. But it is a fantastic movie. It was one of my favorite 3D movie-going experiences. It really was. And it was that movie, Hugo, Life of Pi, and then the Joe Dante movie, whole 3D, that to me were my favorite experiences in 3D.
A magnificent movie. I mean, the visuals are just stunning.
Really, really great. And Cameron outdid himself again. I mean, he just sees that he betters himself each outing, and it's amazing what he can do. But excellent choice. Excellent choice. Hanif, please, let's go on with your pick, my friend.
Well, it's a small Pakistani indie film. Probably none of you heard of it. It's about a goat in Pakistan who gets sucked into a computer game and meets a master control program which want to take over the world.
I saw it.
I'm talking about Tron. Again, watching in Pakistan, and where everybody was crazy about video games, and I had no idea what it was or what video games were. My brothers were actually making video games, video vending machines, fixing the machines, and then Tron came out. It was just blew all of us away. Everybody knows I'm not going to talk about the movie much, but it's fascinating how it got made. Stephen Lesberger, he fall in love with animation when animation and filmmaking in Boston was kind of frowned upon. So as Rebellion, he got thrust into it, and they started doing their own stuff, and they wanted to do more. They were doing this amazing effect of backlighting rather than painting. You're painting with light by projecting light from behind and making holes and stuff. Soon they realized that they need to get commercial, the studio. So they pitched, the Animal Olympics, which got bought by NBC, I believe. And they were working on it, and they start, working on kind of sort of Tron movie idea. Then Russia-Afghanistan war happened, and all the Olympics, everything by boycotting American government. So that stopped. So they start working on Tron. And that's how it developed and got to Disney. It's in many stages, like great movies, so almost didn't got made. And it was a groundbreaking technology. All the people got involved in it, how they made it. It's fascinating. That's what makes it more special. Me and my brothers loved that movie. That's pretty much it. And then again, it's more fascinating if you know how they got it made. Then you watch the movie, you go, holy crap. Sid Mead, the design. As a designer, as an artist, and a filmmaker, I'm very much influenced by Sid Mead's work and Ultron and Blade Runner, all the classic movies. So there, I'm done.
Great. So this movie, when it came out in '82, it was such a revolution that they really first CGI computer generated animation that they were able to do with the life inside this video game. And I remember also the arcade game coming afterwards too, that accompanied the film. That's all we wanted to play as kids too. The design is amazing.
It was fascinating for me in a sense because from '82 to good zillion years, I was not allowed to even go out on broad daylight. So watching these kind of movies that you get sucked into this computer world, it was kind of like stupid kid like me was like, you take the kid and you push his imagination all the way, into La La Land. It was like, wow, fascinating for me watching it when you're not even allowed to go out, even in the broad daylight, just school and home. That's it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I have a special relationship with this film, or all the films between '82 and till me coming here.
Great, that's great, honey. We're gonna save the trailer for when we end the show, but I want to quickly get Garner's pick in so that we can at least get him to participate. So Garner, tell us about your pick.
Basically, it's called The Thing. Actually, The Thing from Another World was the full title. Howard Hawks produced it and actually directed much of it, I think. Christian Nyby was his editor, and it was his first chance to direct. The story is very simple. It's set in the Arctic. This strange shape has descended on the ice and is locked into it. And the military wants to know what the hell it is, and so do the scientists. And they sort of, there's this great scene where they span out and stand on the perimeter of it. You get a sense of how big it is. But it is also, for what it's worth, it's James Arness's first feature role as a large plant who is from outer space and is, I guess, is the precursor to to a lot of other films that have plants coming from outer space. But when I was a kid, I saw this film when I was, I guess, about 9 years old, and it just really fixed in my imagination. It was I thought, a great piece of work, and personally, I think it holds up as a if you, as long as you buy into the kind of acting style that existed back then, and I think that Howard Hawks had a real knack for finding these kinds of things. It was written by Charles Lederer with contributions by Hawks and by Ben Hecht, and it's really a wonderful film. We're out of time, so I won't go any further. But go see it if you can.
Jen, are we out of time? Well,
No, we've got another couple of minutes. Elise isn't here yet.
okay.
One of the things about this movie was that it came out about the same time as The Day the Earth Stood Still. And I looked at that movie as a science fiction classic. I saw The Thing as a horror picture because it scared the hell out of me.
Yeah.
I was only 9, 10 years old, same as you, but I never pictured The Thing as a science fiction movie.
No, well,
that's just me.
No, I think the fact that James Arness's character is such as, just using the term loosely, but is so frightening.
That's what I mean. It was so huge.
Yeah.
Wasn't he a carrot?
Title.
No, he was a plant, and he had these pods on his body that shot. That he could release. They had, they're basically trapped in the Arctic, and they have all these problems. I don't want to go any further with explaining what happened, but because I think it really is a fun film to watch.
But the performances are fabulous. Kenneth Tobey and the rest of them. It's typical Howard Hawks for each other. There's a real natural flow all the way through, and they do very fast talking.
Yeah, no, it's a.
I want to make a comment about Tron.
Go.
We have one of the designers of it here living on campus with us, and he's done a lot of tremendous work, and he's still active, using all sorts of tricks and computer things.
Is it Richard Tyler?
Yes.
If you remember, Richard Tyler, or I'm somebody else.
No.
Richard Taylor.
I apologize, Richard Taylor. I apologize.
Yeah. And he's very active here, and very proud of his contribution to Tron.
And he did our Halloween card that went out on social media, if you saw that.
Yeah, right.
And the
very nice man too.
And there's a holiday card, not just the Halloween one. There's a holiday one that's coming.
Well, if he remembers, tell him Hanif said hi.
Hopefully he's watching. Hey, Elise is here, so you guys wrap up. I think there's a trailer that we're going to show.
We're going to show the trailer to Tron.
No, the Thing. I want to forget about. Everybody knows Tron. Let's go Thing. Can we do that?
Sure. It was just a nice segue with Mr. Taylor. If you wanted to.
Oh, never mind. That teaches you should never listen to me.
All right, so we will show the trailer to Tron. We will hold on to the trailer of The Thing and maybe show that next week. There's only 2 more Cinephiles before we close out 2021. Everybody in favor of continuing on all the way through 2022?
Yeah, we'll finish the month up with Sci-Fi and start anew in the new year.
Okay, great.
We don't know what yet, but we'll think of something.
So,
Amy, great to have you here, sweetheart, and good luck to you.
Thank you, Wrigley.
We're gonna miss you.
Best of luck, Amy.
Take care.
Thanks, everyone.
All right, we're going to show the trailer to Tron. We're going to do the intro for moving rhythmic meditation, and then Elise is going to take it over from here.
Okay. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, guys.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
The computer, an extension of the human intellect. The NCOM 511, center of the most calculating intelligence on Earth. Programmed by Master Control to survive by all means. Soon, the ultimate tool will become the ultimate enemy.
I still do not understand why you want to break into the system.
Because, man, somewhere in one of these memories is the evidence. Hey, it's the big Master Control program everybody's been talking about.
Kevin Flynn, computer genius. Taken prisoner and held captive within the digital world of the computer itself. Trapped inside an electronic arena